Hello, people. Welcome to Main Event Boxing Talk. I'm Nathan Ogden. This is Murphy and Tom. Hello, guys. How you doing?
Hi,
Doing,
doing well.
doing well, thank you.
Good. Right, let's make a start. Murphy, did you watch Pascal lose to Sislak in like 2 rounds? Did you watch this fight at all? Were you aware of
I
it?
didn't only because I had UFC and another boxing match on. Well, the Jake Paul undercard, and so I did see that it
Okay.
was on, but I didn't.
Okay. Pascal lost. Was it 2 rounds? Tommy lost in or one? I forget.
I think so. I think it was in the second round, and I didn't like the way he looked. He looked overweight. He looked slow, and his
Yeah.
corner threw in the towel as soon as he got hurt.
Mm.
So I don't know what he has left, especially after all the PEDs he's done, and I don't know. He's fighting a lot heavier now, so I don't think he could be competitive on that level that he once was.
Okay. What do you think, Murphy?
I like John Pascal, but Father Time, so he's old.
Catches it up with all of us. Catches it
This
with all of us.
man, he's
Not me.
yeah. I like. He was a decent boxer. He wasn't great. He was a decent boxer. He had a cool style, and he had kind of a little resurgence later on. Got a couple of good wins in, but yes, time to hang
Do you
it up.
think he's from the Carl Froch era? And we're talking like 13 years ago he fought Carl Froch for the WBC belt. That's how long he's been around, but he's never really recovered from that loss to Brown, did he really? I don't think he ever did. That was 5 years ago. So I think it's time for him to go. Sail up in the sunset, personally.
I mean, he doesn't have any other skills. I mean, before that, he was pimping, I think.
No,
John
that was
Pascal.
Adonis Stevens. That was Adonis Stevens. You're talking about.
Adonis
Yeah, that
Stevens.
was Donna Stevenson. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he was always very strong and he had stamina, and you didn't know. I mean, he could take you out in a later round with his power, but I wonder how much of that was due to his PED abuse. He got away with that a couple of times.
Right, we'll move on to the next thing. Katie Taylor is going to have a third fight with Amanda Serrano. I frankly can't be bothered with a third fight because the same thing's going to happen again. She'll just get screwed out of the points. Serrano, I'd say, won the first fight. What do you think, Murphy?
So I watched the fight at a fight party, and I was really entertained. I'm not a huge fan of women's boxing. I like women's UFC actually, but I don't like women's boxing too much. But I was very, very much entertained. It just seems to be a political thing, and it always is. But I don't know if she can catch a break.
I just don't see it happening. What do you think, Tom?
Well, I watched both fights every round. And I thought in the first one that Serrano, after around the fifth round, started to slow down a little bit, and Katie wound up scoring enough to take the decision. The second one I would have called a draw, at least. A draw. There were so many punches thrown, and it was hard to keep track of how many were landing. It was an incredible fight.
Incredible fight.
It was,
Whether it was women, and she got cut. And Katie has a way of, she comes in and they both come in with their heads and they get cut, and I would have settled for a draw without a problem at all. I mean, it was just such a violent fight. It was violent.
It was. It was.
You could make a case for Serrano in that one, but I would have called it a draw because it was just that much going on. But Serrano was better prepared for her, but Katie's got an engine. She's got this amazing engine. They both do.
They both do. Yeah.
So it depends on how much was taken. Who's gotten the most taken out of them in both of those
right.
fights?
You've got to remember that Amanda Serrano has gone up 3 weights to fight her, right? So hence naturally she's a featherweight or whatever she is, and also she hasn't had as many wars as Katie Taylor. Katie Taylor's she's near the end. You can tell she's near the end, can't you? You really can. In the last couple of fights.
Yeah.
What do you
There were 2 actresses on the show, Hot Ones, where they eat hot chicken wings, and the 2 of them came out at the end. and they look so feminine and they were dressed so nice. But these two women like have the hearts of lionesses, man. They'll just go
They do.
after each other.
Right, I'm going to have to stop you there. What I want to hear Brian's point of view on this,
Yeah.
on what we've already discussed, and then we'll move on.
Katie Taylor and Serrano.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like he said, I just remember the first fight just being rock'em sock'em robots, just all action all the time. You know what I mean? And I just can't imagine anybody being disappointed that one lost over the other. You know, I mean, both either side, it was just too hard to call. But I say political, you know, maybe from the first one, and it just seems like I don't know. I don't know how to go the second time. I'm the third time. I'm trying to think of the third time.
Didn't they? Both of them were in New York, right?
Yeah.
That's Katie's hometown. So
no, Katie lives in Ireland. She lives in Ireland, I believe.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, Amanda's hometown, rather.
Yeah. So.
But they did it on the first one on St. Patrick's Day, I think. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. They're both so good. I mean, they should just both give them a belt.
Yeah, I didn't want to see a third fight because we know who slightly the better fighter is now, whether it's official or not. You know, it's just a cash grab. Right, we'll move on to what I thought was an absolute right. Jake Paul defeats Cesar Chavez, 39-year-old man. You know, I enjoyed the fight. I think Jake Paul's getting a little bit better. I can take him a bit more seriously, but seriously, he's not going to beat the world champion unless they manufacture a belt for this man, right? So we'll go straight to Brian on this. Did you see the fight?
I did see the fight. First off, you know, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He's a hard pill to swallow for me, man. Just as a person, you know, just as a petulant child. I just don't care for him. He does have some heart. I love how he just finds a way to come back at the end and make it entertaining. That's kind of fun. But I didn't give him much of a chance at all. I think Jake Paul.
Neither did I.
Yeah, I didn't give him. You know, although he was a professional boxer, Jake Paul is now at that level to where, you know, he is a true professional. He's not phenomenal or great or elite.
He's average. He's average.
But he's average, but even becoming an average professional is extremely difficult.
It is, yeah.
So, you know, like I have to give him that. He is now a legitimate average professional boxer, which is
good.
That's not bad to say. You know, that's
good.
Yeah, you know.
You know, you've got to give him his respect. And Tom, what did you think? So, what did you enjoy the fight, though, Brian?
Not really. I had to fast forward it because it was very repetitive, and Chavez wasn't doing anything.
Really?
Until in the later rounds, and then I started watching it. And then I think he started to expose Jake. I mean, he was landing combinations. Now, this was the first time he was doing 3-minute rounds, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, I believe so, yeah.
And 10 rounds. So he was starting to gas. But then you could see like the speed and the precision of the combinations when Chavez started taking over. But he waited too long, and you know he was being cautious because Jake is heavier, number one, and he does throw a hard punch. If he connects you, he can hurt you. But you could see like he went up against the guy with I don't know what his record is now. It's like 12-1. He went up against another guy who's been around, you know, a boxer who was 12-1, a real guy at his weight. He's going to have trouble.
You know? I personally believe that Jake Paul, to come from where he's come from and his achievement on its own, he's in the top 100 cruiserweights in the world. I will say that. Okay. You know, there's so many bad cruiserweights between 400 to 200 that he can beat easily. I think we've got to give him a bit more credit than what we're giving him. You know, I really believe that. People need to put a bit of respect on his name. He's got to the top 100. He's got a world ranking, whether we like it or not. And with that, it's what he does with that world ranking. What I think will happen is the WBA regular cruiserweight belt is vacant, right? So what I think will happen is he'll fight for that belt in a couple of fights. They'll find some guy ranked outside the top 200 we never heard of before. They'll rank him and then he'll get a world title, right? That's the only way I believe he'll win a world title. And that will. Do you guys think that will happen? Because I think it will.
Yeah, he can't keep fighting these guys that are like 1 foot out of the ring or 1 foot into the ring.
Into the grave, yes.
Yeah, he fought Tommy Fury, who had 3 fights, and Fury beat him.
Yeah, but he's got better. He's got better. Whether we like it or not, he's got better. I'm not saying he's going to win a world title. He's going to be world class. He could get a lot better. People are not giving him the credit. It's because he's YouTuber. People are looking down on him. The fact that he's in there mixing it and he's active means you're going to get better, right? We don't know what he does behind the scenes. I think you've got to give him his credit.
Well,
Chavez.
Yeah, I do give him
Chavez,
credit.
but Chavez is a Nepo baby, a guy that was a weight bully. He won the WBC belt, so you got to give him his respect. What he did 14 years ago, you can't take that away from him.
No, I don't. I mean, when he was coming up, he was good, but also when he was coming up, he was popped for diuretics and, to lose weight at the last minute to weight. When he won the title, he did that.
Right, we must move on to our next thing now. Ramirez defeats Dorticus. Did both of you guys watch this fight?
Yeah.
We did. What did you think, Brian, of Ramirez's performance against Dorticus?
It was a little boring for me. It was a good performance. He won. He definitely won and definitely took over in the later rounds. This is just a little boring to me. I think the fight was, in my eyes, a little closer even than what the judges had it. That's for sure. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Brian, did you think he looked flabby and a little out of shape?
He definitely looked soft. I mean, he was. I looked at the stomach. He had a little bit of just a tiny pouch, actually.
Yeah, he was hanging over the trunks a little bit. But also, if you look at the punch stats, his percentages were much higher.
Mm-hmm.
So, what did you think of it, Nathan?
I think it says it all about the cruiserweight division. The talent just isn't there. So we're talking about a guy that went from super middleweight to light heavyweight, and he's just gone up because there isn't any real stars apart from Opetaya, who Ramirez looks like. There isn't many stars in this division, right?
Right.
Not really. This is the division where people go and hide if they haven't got the talent. They're heavyweight, or they're no good at light heavyweight. This is where they go. So I think Ramirez would lose to Opetaya and get destroyed. Opetaya hits too hard, he's too skillful. But the advantage Ramirez does have, he's got more skill than Opetaya. But Opetaya will hit him super hard. So I'd pick Opetaya by knockout. Ramirez doesn't have the power to be the number one in this division. That's what I believe.
And they're both southpaws, right?
They are.
Yeah,
but Opetaya's, both of you guys have got to agree with that. Opetaya is much better than him, and he will knock him out.
Hell yeah!
Easily.
Now, do you think the Turk will put up the money for this to see it?
I don't think you. I think you would, yeah, because Opetaya is such an exciting fight. He's the one that will be selling the fight, not Ramirez.
Right. So you're picking him as the A side, then, yeah.
Yeah, Ramirez is a great fighter, right? He just doesn't have the power to go to heavyweight. He may have the power to go to bridgeweight, but if he goes to heavyweight, he wouldn't even get in the top 20.
He's not as an elite boxer as, you saw what Bivol outpointed him, yeah, right?
He's not, but he's a world-class fighter.
Yes, he is.
He could, and he's what, is he 29? He's about 29. He could still get better. Maybe he's starting to peak. I'd say he's starting to peak.
Well, he better stay off that Mexican beef.
Look, if you've gone from super middleweight, he's the sort of guy that will just, he ate his way to cruiserweight anyway. But he was always too big. He was a weight bully because he was at super middleweight for too long, probably 3 years too long. Is everybody anything else to say on this, or should we or want to move on?
No, I just would say that he moved up, at the right time as Canelo needed to move in,
Yeah. Okay. The next one, Wilder returns with a 7th round TKO win over Herndon. What did you guys think of the performance? What did you think of the performance, Brian?
Didn't see that one. Deontay Wilder, I was listening to Hatman earlier, and he said something that I've always agreed upon, and that is Wilder's team, the original team, At some point, it will be revealed that they never believed in him. You know, Shelley Finkel and the rest. It will be revealed that they never believed in Wilder. You know, they basically protected him, and they took advantage of the fact that, you know, obviously Wilder is no Einstein. The man does not need to be in the ring with an elite level fighter. He is completely cooked physically and mentally.
I agree. Yeah. I saw the performance. He knocked him. I'll tell you what happened, Brian. He knocked him down in the second round, and then he got up after about 10. It was more or less a flash knockdown. Then in the seventh, then Wilder was throwing his jab. He looked good with the jab, but his legs were gone. He didn't look like he is solid like he used to be. He's now no longer got Malik Scott as his trainer. He's now got one of his long-time members, as you know, as his coach. And he seems to be fighting back to how he was a little bit, which is good because Malik Scott got him fighting more like a boxer than a brawler, right? So in the seventh round, Wilder hit him with his signature punch. The guy was still on his feet, and then the ref just stopped it. It shouldn't take him 7 rounds to beat a guy like that. If you've beaten a guy like that in 7 rounds, you've got problems. Even, who's that? Is it Torres? You know, remember the new heavyweight Torres? He knocked him out in 1 round. And so did Anderson, knocked him out in 1 round. So this tells me where he is. I'd say if he is going to continue fighting, he should fight Dave Allen. Then that will kind of tell us a little bit more. Because Dave Allen would have knocked that guy out in 3 or 4 rounds. Whether I don't think Wilder can beat anybody in the top 10, he may be able to beat guys just outside the top 20, like the Pulevs and the Chars, you know, people like that. Possibly be able to beat you know, I think he'll struggle against Fabio Ward or even get knocked out. You know, even Derek Chisora would beat him at this point. Right,
Derek
what
Chisora,
about?
You said Derek Chisora would beat him?
Would beat him at this point, yeah.
Oh yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm.
Right, so you look at Wilder's career, he made 10 title defenses. If you've got no talent, you don't make 10 title defenses. If you make 10 title defenses, I don't care about the opposition. That says that you've had a legacy of a good career, right? We can't knock his legacy. We can only knock him for what we see now. He should retire. But you know he's not going to. He'll have probably 2 or 3 more fights like this. Then he'll have a big fight, then he'll lose, then he'll walk away.
I think you made some very good points there. You know how I feel. We've discussed this before, but I'm going to reiterate this for Brian. You know, a lot of people said he didn't box well. Well, I thought he boxed very well. You know, he was awkward and he had freakish power. So when he would unleash that right hand, it would come down the pike so fast, you know, and so hard that you couldn't withstand it. And he also had a way of like setting up a good left hook, and he had a jab, but he was awkward. And that was part of his talent, was being able to execute what he executed with his physical stature and whatnot. So people didn't give him enough credit to be able to set those punches up.
No, they didn't. But at the same time, like Brian said, he is cool. All he's got left is his power and his jab. That's it. He's got nothing else.
Well, let me go on. In this case, I felt that, I mean, he started to get injured before he fought Fury. And if you look at when he fought King Kong, right, from Cuba, I forget his last name. He was losing every round. He was Ruiz, right? And he was losing, and then he, you know, the right hand, and that was over. So, you know, once those two took so much out of each other, Fury and Wilder. At the end of that, he was started to slur his words, you know, and his speech became very. And going into those fights that he had in England, the 2 he lost back to back, I thought he should have never came back. He should have taken his money and rode off into the sunset and not risk getting hurt anymore. I mean, when what's his name, Zhang hit him, he turned him around. How bad it was. Now in this fight, his timing was off. He was throwing the right hand. He was missing this guy. He couldn't find him flush, really flush. And if you're going to go against, you know, a rated guy in the top 10, he's going to get hurt. if he fights those guys. He will get.
Oh yeah, he will. Yeah, I agree.
He needs to.
Right, sure.
He doesn't need
Have
it.
we all, okay. Have we all said what we're going to say on this?
Yeah.
We'll agree to move on. Yeah, okay.
I agree.
Did any of you guys watch the Rodriguez fight? Yeah, 5 lost to Rodriguez.
Let me see what. Oh yeah, I saw that. I couldn't believe that guy out hustled him like that.
I couldn't believe it either.
Well, he only had what, 12 fights?
Yeah.
And they put him in with a guy with a good record, a really good record. He went 3 times the experience. That was stupid.
Yeah, they shouldn't have put him in there. You don't put a guy like that in there till he's at least 25. Did you watch the fight, Brian?
I didn't know.
Okay. Okay, we'll kind of move on, I guess. Jack Catterall, are you guys looking for Brian? Are you looking forward to watching Jack Catterall against Harlem Eubank?
Yeah, that'll be a good fight.
Yeah, I guess I'll lean towards Jack Catterall.
I think you've got to.
But I think Harlem is a good fighter, man. He's good, and I mean Catterall is tough. I think Catterall has been out hustled the last couple of fights, and he moved up to 147. He's lost some of his power, so it's a kind of a cross fight to him. If he loses this fight, what does he have after this?
Come back in and come back out, Tom. Can you hear me? Can you hear us?
I hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. I hear you. Can you hear me?
Come back.
Okay.
All right,
I can hear you fine.
Yeah. So, how are you picking Jack Catterall to win, by knockout or by points?
By points.
What, a wide decision or split decision?
No, kind of close. I say by points because Harlem is decent. He is a decent fighter, so that's why I say by points.
Right, I'll give my view. I think this is the first world-class fighter that Harlem's fought. This will tell us everything, this fight will. He's 32 years old. It's now or never. So if he loses, I think Catterall's going to win on points, and he's going to outclass him. I think Harlem will learn more from losing this fight than he would from winning, myself personally. So if he wins, then obviously he gets a title shot and he'll probably win. But Catterall's the sort of guy, he's had 2 fights where he's been screwed, in the first Josh Taylor fight and then the last fight he had. I just think, you've got to pick Catterall to win this fight.
You really do. You really do. It's. I can't see him losing this fight, to be honest with you. And stoppage is also, not out the question.
It's a risk, isn't it? I think what they should have done with Harlem is they should say, well, I'll give you 3 more fights and then try and fight for a vacant belt. Why go for someone as dangerous as Jack Catterall? To me, it doesn't make any sense at this stage, Do you agree, Tom?
Yeah. He's got to win. If he wants to, the other guy could suffer a loss and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
But Catterall's got to really go after this guy. I mean, he does have more experience, but this guy he's fighting is also very good.
But
I'm going to go with Eubank to be different here.
Okay. Eubank is the only Eubank that's actually sensible. To be honest, then, if you look at it properly, He's got Adam Booth as his trainer, who's a very good trainer.
That counts for a lot, actually.
Yeah, I just think there's levels to boxing. And I think Catterall is on that one rung higher, He's in the A.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Right. I think we'll agree to move on. Shakur Stevenson will be fighting William Zepeda. Is that this weekend?
No, I think it's next weekend.
Who would you guys pick to win that? Because I'd have to say Shakur. He's too good.
I'm going to say Zepeda. I think if you look at, he should beat him, but Zepeda's very crafty and he's rough and he's in shape. If you don't think so?
No, not at all. I don't know. I sometimes think you read from a different hymn sheet to everybody else. What have you been taking? Seriously. What do you think, Brian?
I got to go with Shakur. The guy, I kind of wants the Pater to win just to mix things up a little bit. I kind of want him to win, but I don't think that he will. I think Shakur will win, and it's likely that he'll win in, a Floyd Mayweather fashion again. I.e. boring, defensive minded, but in boxing, there's no rules that say you have to make it entertaining. You just need to win. And yeah, you got to go with Shakur. He's just a phenomenally gifted fighter.
Agree. I agree.
Let me see what else.
But I haven't
I'm just going to wait
seen
for
the
these things. I
outstanding.
do apologise for this technical rubbish that we have to put in.
What's going on?
Right. Tom, come in and come out again.
All right.
So, Brian, we're going to Canelo. Canelo insists that Crawford has not defeated one elite fighter in his career. What do you think of that?
Don't agree.
You hear that?
Yeah,
I don't agree either.
Yeah, no, I think that, again, it can come down to what your definition of elite is. But, when you're talking about Errol Spence, I mean, of course that guy was an elite fighter, and he wasn't the only one either. Amir Khan, he was at the bottom of elite, The funny thing about Amir Khan is that, he got knocked out a lot. But each time he fought a cream puff, you pretty much sent him to the hospital,
Yeah.
So he was still elite, just at the bottom of elite. So of course he fought elite fighters. That doesn't make sense.
I think Crawford has bitten off more than he can chew. I think this is going to be a close fight. It reminds me of Hagler Hearn from obviously 30 years ago, whatever it was. I'm going to have to pick Canelo on this one. I can't see any other win. I'm going to pick Canelo to stop him, not to stop him, to beat him on point. Split decision.
I take Crawford. I take Crawford to win in a close points decision.
But you need to explain why, though.
I wouldn't be surprised if Crawford's the first person to legitimately hurt Canelo Alvarez. As a matter of fact, yeah. Not stop him. I don't think he's going to stop him or knock him out. Heck no. But I think he could. It might be the first person to make him say, "Ooh, whoa, okay."
You want payday? Right, Tom, you're going.
Well, I'm a big fan of both guys, and I think in his weight division, Crawford was just amazing. If you look at him against Madrimov, he had trouble pushing him back. And Canelo, here's the way he can beat Canelo. Canelo
Carry on. He'll come back in a second. Can you see a white circle, Brian?
No, I see everything fine.
Can you see? Is Tom actually there? Is he speaking? Can you hear him?
Yeah, Tom is there.
Yeah, Tom. It's if you keep talking.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm a big fan of.
Is he talking? Is he?
Yes, he's talking.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Tell me when you stop talking. Just put your thumb up when you stop talking.
Okay.
So I'm a big fan of both guys.
Right, if you can't hear me, if I can't talk to you, it's because my thing's off. But you keep talking to.
Stop interrupting.
Okay,
if you can hear me.
I'm listening.
Okay, I'm going to shut up.
Okay.
Okay, good. So the only way I see this happening is that Canelo, he does something with his foot. With his right foot, he drags it forward and comes forward, dragging his right foot before he sets the punch. That's how Bivol beat him. Okay. Now, if Crawford could do that and get and fire off combinations and get out of the way before he sets, he can outbox him. But don't forget that even though Bivol beat him, Canelo scored some really hard shots on Bivol, and he pushed him into the ropes. It's going to be easier to push Bud into the ropes and score on him. So he's going to have to withstand that punch, which he can, I believe. But if he gets timed right, either guy can knock each other out or hurt each other. But I don't think he has the power to stop Canelo.
Yeah, I don't.
Canelo, I think, he's a great boxer.
Still talking, or is he finished?
So I am going to pick Canelo. I'm going to go with Nathan.
or is he gone?
Okay.
Right. Well,
he stopped talking. He said he's going to go with Canelo.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Canelo on point. So there you go. I didn't hear anything you said, but never mind. I think Canelo's just too big for him. Crawford's an elite fighter, a guy who's come up from 4 weight division. He's another Pacquiao. It won't ever be. You won't see anyone like him again. I just think he's reached his limit in terms of what he can go up. That's all. Just based on that. Nothing else.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to keep my video off so you can hear me.
Okay. If Crawford wants to win, then he needs to walk away from the sport because he's 36. He ain't got nothing left to prove if he wins it, you know? And if Canelo loses, then he should look at, either going down, looking at a different, easier match. This is a big risk for Canelo, isn't it, really, this fight? It really is.
Yeah, I agree. It's risky for both guys. But I think Canelo is going to win. But I love Bud. I would love Bud to win.
I would, but I'm just being realistic. That's all. That's just my opinion. That's all it is. Right, we'll move on to our last thing, which is Brian Norman. Did anybody watch this? He defended his WBO 147 title.
You guys got to watch it. I put it up on the Main Event boxing site. This guy is going to be super dominant in the lightweight division.
Really?
I mean, he stretched this guy out bad.
Oh.
He's a bad man, bad and great boxer. That guy, there's another guy coming up in the lightweights too. That's going to be.
He's 147, Tom. He's a 147. He's a welterweight. Normally.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he's 147. Yeah. Let me double check.
I'm going to check you out there. Hold on.
Welterweight, WBO, junior welterweight. I believe so.
Why did
it say welterweight? I think he's welterweight. Let me double check.
Let's see. I've been wrong before, and I'd be willing. It was a vicious KO with this guy.
Well, he's got talent. When I first saw him fight, I thought, it's just another guy who's going to be a belt holder, but he's more than that. He's young. I think he's 24, 25. Did you watch the fight, Brian?
I didn't.
But have you ever seen Norman fight before?
Oh, you're right. He's welterweight. Yeah.
No, I haven't seen him fight before.
Yeah, have a look at him if you ever get the chance to watch him. He's a star in the making.
Okay.
If you get the chance.
Okay. I'll do that then. All right. Good.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it. I mean, he's really good.
But when you see an elite fighter give a belt up like Crawford gave his belt up, you look at the name and think, who's this guy? That was my first point when I saw it. I thought, then when I watched him, I thought, yeah, I see it then. So what round did he win? Talk us through the fight very quickly, Tom.
I think it was the 4th round, if I can remember. He knocked the guy down twice in the first round. And then he came back. He fought for maybe 2 rounds. And then you got to see it. I mean, he was just – I was impressed. Let's put it that way. And you guys should be too when you watch it. It's up there. Just go see it. He was really good.
Okay. Before we go, I wanted to talk about a heavyweight who's really impressed me, Moses Atuma.
Yep.
Have you seen him, Brian?
Yes.
He's really good, isn't he?
He's extremely good. He's definitely the next big thing.
Yeah. Did you hear about him fighting Dillian White?
Yes, I did. I think he's going to mop the floor with
It's a murder, isn't it? It's a massacre.
Dillian White is shot to pieces, man.
Did you see his last fight where he fought that Ghanaian guy, that Fraser? You've heard of Fraser Clark, haven't you? Fraser Clark knocked this guy out in 1 round when he came back after Wardley put a dent in him. So this is such a mismatch. It's only the name, isn't it? He's just going for the name. He's going for the shell of a man who's got a name.
Yeah.
And what a name to have on your scalp, even if it is a shot, Dillian White. It doesn't matter. It's the name recognition that counts, right?
Do you think that's why he canceled his last fight to have a bigger fight?
Yeah, that is the only reason he got like £2 million for this fight. That's what I heard. Chisora turned down this fight. That tells you what you need to know.
And Fabio Wardley, you think he would be in there with Wardley? Could he take him?
Yeah, he'd beat Wardley, yeah. No, it's probably too soon, but he'll take him right now. He could take him right now.
What about Torres?
Fabio Wardley?
I think Moses Atuma beats Fabio Wardley.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Did anybody watch Fabio Wardley's last fight against Justice Huni? When
Yeah.
he fought, it was WBA interim belt, right? So he's now in line to face Kubrat Pulev, who's the WBA regular champion.
Yeah.
Would you pick Wardley to beat Pulev? Because I don't think I would, based on what I've seen.
I would say it's very close. Very, very close.
So you think it would probably be on points, wouldn't it? He needs to knock Pulev out, don't he, to win it, if it's in Bulgaria, you know.
He might be able to get him. That could go a few different ways. Yeah.
If the fight's in Bulgaria, Pulev will get the decision no matter what happens. The fight has to be in the Britain or Saudi Arabia. If it's in Saudi Arabia or Britain and it goes to points, he'll win because obviously Pulev doesn't throw more than 20 punches around, right? He's slowed down. He's got a good chin, but he doesn't have the power. I mean, whereas Wardley has the power to knock him out. If Wardley can knock him out, then he win the fight. You know, if he goes to points, I just think Pulev will do a wily old man on him. Yeah, he'll outman him, old man him.
He has a better jab.
He's got one of the best jabs in heavyweight, you know, in the last 20 years. But he's 44 now. You know, can he go a full 12 war with someone like Fabio Wardley? Probably not.
But can Wardley go a full 12 rounds? You know.
Yes, he can. Yeah, he can.
Because he did with Fraser Clark, I guess.
He did with Fraser Clark. He nearly got knocked out. And when he fought Honey, he was getting jabbed. You know, Honey hits harder than Pulev. So I think he could probably pull it off.
Well, he was losing that last fight until he
was, yeah.
He got lucky on that one.
So you could call him a dollar version of Wilder, really, couldn't you? To be nice, you know.
I don't know.
With better boxing, I think.
Pulev is a better boxer. Period.
But he's much better. We know he is. Obviously, a prime Pulev wins the fight every day. Pulev's 44, but even at 44, he still has a good base, a good chin, good work engine, you know.
It's interesting.
So, right. If anybody's got anything else they want to talk about, if not, then we'll pack up.
Well, the only other thing coming up is Pacquiao versus Barrios. Well, I want to get your opinion on that.
We can talk about it. What do you think, Brian?
I think it shouldn't happen. Pacquiao was one of my favorite fighters and favorite people. But, you know, again, Father Time, he's way too old. And I just don't see any way that he could possibly win this fight. I shouldn't say any way possible. He, you know, that Keith Thurman fight was just unbelievable. The fact that he was able to beat Keith Thurman was just like, this guy.
That was 6 years, Brian. That was 6 years ago. That was 6, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Do you think that Barrios is probably not the? Yeah, it was. But I'd say Barrios is like one of the weaker belt holders. I'd say he's worse than Rolly Romero. He's definitely the weakest of the champions, Barrios. If Pacquiao were to win it, it wouldn't surprise me, right?
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me either, but I expected he wouldn't. Real quick.
Right, I can't hear you guys anyway, so it's gone kind of circling again.
Have you watched training video of him?
How do you see him winning, Tom?
Well, I've watched training video of him.
How do you see Barrios win?
I'm going to go with Barrios because Pacquiao has slowed down.
I'm going to end the podcast now because I can't hear you guys. Thank you for coming on.
Okay.